Ms. Santana?
Present.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
We have a quorum present. Ms. Faria, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Faria, would you please read the mission statement?
Empower and inspire every student every day.
Thank you. Ms. Kuhn, please read the Open Public Meeting Act statement.
Good evening. Open Publics Meeting Act notice. In accordance with the provision of the New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Act, the Township of Union Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof published in the Star Ledger in Union County at local sources, posted at the Administrative Building of 2369 Morris Avenue, Union, New Jersey, filed with the Township Clerk, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. The Board of Education offers members of the public an opportunity to address issues regarding items on the agenda or any issues. Individuals need to identify themselves by name and address. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered, and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. Board asks all members of the public to be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Comments regarding students and employees of the board will not be responded to by the board. Mr. President.
Thank you. I note that we have a number of members of the public here at 6 p.m. We typically convene this meeting and then immediately go into executive session to discuss legal issues and personnel matters. And then we will reconvene promptly at 7 p.m. So can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Mackey?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
1-minute warning, folks. We're going to reconvene in 1 minute. Doing that. No, we're doing the MOA before public comment or after? Yeah. May I have a motion to go back into public session, please?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Santana, seconded by Ms. Faria. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
No. Yes or no?
Mrs. Conte-Mackey? Mrs. Faria? Mrs. Faria?
I'm sorry.
To go back into.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell? Missing. Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana? Yes. Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We'll now move to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
The minutes of the February 10th work session and executive session, February 24th regular meeting and executive session. Moved by
Oh, my God.
Ms. Santana. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Conte-Mackey. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Mackey?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes for February 10th work section and executive, abstain for February 24th executive and public.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
I
Next, we have our
apologize.
communications, board action of which is reflected on the operation and personnel agendas as appropriate. Without objection, I would like to ask the board to take an agenda item out of order and move the adoption of Resolution G2, which is the approval of the memorandum of agreement only, not proposed salary guides with the Union Township Education Association. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Santana,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Faria. Roll call.
Mr. Cohen, may I just please make one quick statement before the board votes, just so everyone's clear? Pursuant to the Public Employment Relations Commission, negotiations for a successor collective bargaining agreement with the majority representative is a voluntary process. There's a two-step process, approval of the memorandum of understanding, as well as a separate approval of the salary guides. Salary guides are subject to mutual agreement by the parties. It's my understanding that the parties, the Union Township Education Association and the Union Township Board of Education, have negotiated in good faith and arrived at an amicable memorandum of agreement with language and salary percentage increases, et cetera. It's also my understanding that the parties have not come to a mutual agreement on salary guides as of yet. So while there may have been draft salary guides, et cetera, circulated to members of the association, those guides are not binding on the Board of Ed because the Board of Ed was not presented with those guides in advance for its review and approval. So we're just making it very clear that the agreement tonight, or the action of the board tonight, is to approve the MOU in accordance with the parties' good faith obligations. The board will be happy to review and jointly agree upon salary guides with the UTEA in an orderly and professional manner in accordance with the law. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? I have a brief comment. As our counsel has just indicated, The board is pleased that we've reached an agreement with the association, one that we sought for throughout the period of bargaining. I want to put on the record that the notion that this board did not bargain in good faith was not correct. The agreement that we are ratifying tonight, the framework and the general parameters was put on the table by this board in September. And we're pleased that we finally reached the resolution. We will fulfill our commitments of that memorandum, and one of those commitments is that we will make certain the retroactive salary payments are made by July 15th. Our continued discussions with the association to make certain that we meet those mutually agreed upon salary guides will require us to get that done efficiently so that we can meet that commitment. Hearing no other comment, can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Mackey?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We will now have public comments on resolutions. And before we begin, good evening, everyone. I'd like to take a moment to thank you all for being here tonight. As we begin the public comment portion of the meeting, I want to remind everyone that we value input and appreciate your time and effort in sharing your thoughts and concerns. We ask that all comments be respectful and constructive as we aim to foster a productive dialogue that benefits our community and the work we're all here to do. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Please remember that while we're eager to hear your perspectives, we are unable to engage in a discussion during this portion of the meeting. However, your comments will be carefully considered by the board and, if necessary, followed up on. With that said, I invite the first speaker to approach. All right, the first speaker is Glenda Ria Placio.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Is this working?
There you go.
Okay, perfect. So again, thank you for having me here, and I was compelled to
Hold on one second. Can you make sure that the microphones can speak direct?
Hello? Hello? Better? Okay. All right, take two. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ria Placio, and I am a union resident for just about 5 years now. I was compelled to attend this Board of Education meeting tonight in response to the letter that Dr. Benaquista has sent to the Union Township parents who have children in the school system. I came here today because I am gravely concerned with the repercussions of the budget cuts that you have stated in your letters. I have 2 boys that's in the system. One is a 7-year-old that is thriving in the Washington Elementary School, and I have a cute, rambunctious 4-year-old that is currently in the pre-K system, pre-K 3 at the YMCA. I am gravely concerned with the plans that you have regarding universalizing the pre-K center in this neighborhood. I'm hearing rumors that it may be in the other side of town. I'm hearing rumors that it might be at Franklin, at Hannah Caldwell, at Battle Hill, and I came here today to get clarification on what does that mean. So from my point of view, I get that that you have to make difficult decisions to make your new budget work. However, I'm looking at this from a parent's perspective and how I'm going to live through this school year day in and day out. I'm going to have to sign up for 2 before cares to make sure that I get from one school in one side of town to the other side of town to drop off my preschooler who is eyes wide open on what an elementary school would even look like. How would I be able to pick up one kid from one side of town to the other side of town during half days? And I'm looking to this Board of Education to help me understand how will that work? How will this minimize congestion throughout town? And how will this really benefit the students that we have at hand? I get that money is an issue, but I'm trying to have your eyes look at the well-being of our students first. So I'm looking to each and every one of you to help me understand what the rationale is, what the implementation plan is, how are we going forward with this plan from the last day of school on June 22nd and making it come to life on September 1st. I need to understand these, and I need to understand what your timing would look like. So from a parent's perspective, I need to make a decision if I choose to keep my 4-year-old in this public school system, or do I need to look at other private centers to make sure that it's conducive to our schedule and it's conducive to his progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Peter Leone, 13 Stratford Apartments, Old Bridge, teacher at Kwame Middle School. You guys know this, so I'm just here to say it was a long process, but thank you for reaching an MOU, as they call it now. I'm used to MOA. So, like Mr. Cohan said, I just hope that the salary guides are agreed on efficiently and quickly, and then all of this could be behind all of us, and we could really look forward to the end of the year and next school year. So I just want to thank you for reaching the MOU. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Margaret Shannon, 2591 Spruce Street Union, and the UTA president. And I do have to ask a clarifying question about what happened before public comments. So did you vote on just changing the agenda with flexibility, or did you actually vote on G2? Okay, because I don't know what the proper term is, but I take some objection or offense to that because I wanted to speak to it before you guys voted. So I'm not sure why we weren't able to do public comments before you voted on something. But just getting that off my chest, I'm glad that you approved it. I was a little taken aback by some of the comments that Mr. Cohan made about, I don't know if it was Mr. Cohan or Mr. Taylor, I apologize, about the salary guides and the lateness of them. The salary guides were done a long time ago. Yes, there were some questions. Yes, there were some mistakes made from both parties. Not, things were put down wrong, so things had to be changed. But those salary guides have been around for about 3 weeks now, so I just want to make that clear that they were available. And I do, as Mr. Leone said, I am glad that we've come to this point, and I look forward to cleaning up whatever it is that has to be cleaned up on the salary guides. But again, in the future, I would appreciate public comments to be done before things are voted on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We'll now move to the superintendent's report.
Thank you and welcome everyone tonight. I apologize for my voice. I have a scratchy throat. So as we do monthly, we'll keep highlighting, and as we talked about, why we're highlighting our enrollment now and really keeping an eye on it is because enrollment is one of the key things regarding within the funding formula of a budget that the state looks at. So they take they look at your enrollment on a specific date, October 15th, you submit it, and then, that's part of how they fund certain aspects of the state aid. So what we spoke about is we always grow over the year. We might lose kids from the previous year, but then we grow throughout the year and get it back to where it's been an ongoing trend year after year where we get a lot of students registering with us, in a sense, after October 15th. So we want to make sure everyone understands a lot of different aspects of then what ends up impacting us, you know, which we'll be highlighting tonight in our budget report, you know, but losing students, in a sense, can impact you in funding. So, you know, that's why we want to keep all our students here and again, keep them going. So, Delilah, Haley, is Delilah here? All right, so I'm going to come back to Delilah. She was our unsung hero, and hopefully she'll make it here. I know parking's tough tonight in traffic, so why don't, Allie flew here from her softball game. They won. So Allie is our liaison this month, and, you know, we're going to highlight, Allie's going to highlight our winter sports, how well we did, and it's nice that softball won today, and you're here to join us to tell us about all the wonderful things. So, Allie, here. The mic.
Thank you very much.
There's the clicker. And
okay, perfect. Thank
when
you.
you're done, up.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Ali Silvestri, and I'm going to talk a little bit just about what's happening at the high school. A little bit about me. I am a senior at Union High School, very proud of it. I am a 4-year varsity athlete, and I am captain of the varsity softball team. I am attending Gettysburg College in the fall, and I plan to study health sciences to go in the medical field. Thank you very much. So to begin, we are going to honor our coaches. Mr. Dino Di Bologna, he earned the Union County Coach of the Year, District Coach of the Year, and Region Coach of the Year. And Eric Lofton Harris, in his first year as coach, earned the Coaches Association Union County Coach of the Year. Next, we have our JROTC program, which hosted the North Jersey League Drill Championship, and they did amazing. They placed first in unarmed color guard, armed color guard, unarmed regulation, and unarmed exhibition. The Maroon Guard and Infantry Guard represented Union with very much pride, precision, and discipline, and this is just the beginning of all the amazing things that these people are going to do. Next, we had hosted Frozen the Musical for UHS PAC, and it was a huge success. Personally, I loved it very much. They all did amazing. We had 5 performances and sold about 2,000 tickets and about 550 attendees on Friday night, and over 400 for closing, which is pretty big for a Sunday. During their final performance, the cast received a whole audience standing ovation from the start to the end of the bows, and there were over 80 Union High School students participating. And apparently they're all recovering. A lot of them were out yesterday, much needed time, and they'll stop by to perform in the upcoming months. Our girls and boys basketball team did phenomenal this year. The boys basketball record was 22-5, and the girls was 14-10. Both teams have advanced to the state semifinals. Our boys swim team qualified for the state tournament, as well as our bowling team, which also qualified. And winter track, the girls won the section state champions. And our wrestling team had a phenomenal season. They were 22-5. Unfortunately, they lost in the team state championship. Ariel Azaredo was the Region 4 champion, and we had 3 students who went to state qualifiers in Atlantic City: Ariel Azaredo, Nikki Bertolotti, and O'Bright Ingram. Very happy to say they are all my friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Allie. And we usually take a picture.
Yeah. There we go.
So we come in the middle and with your fellow board members. Anyone have any questions while we're getting ready for a picture? Any questions?
I'd like to actually say something, and it just struck me while Allie was speaking, and I think all of her predecessors that have come in these past few months, I've had the honor of watching you grow up in front of my eyes, from kindergarten all the way till now. She is a true product of Union. And I want to say every other child that has been here every month also. So when we talk about Union, this is what I want everyone to see. Thank you so much, Allie. Thank you.
Thank you again, Ally. So next, I would like to invite Ms. Kuhn up. We're going to share, I'll let Ms. Kuhn start, and then if I need to chime in a little bit on our budget.
Okay. I don't think this is on. Is it on? Anyway, good evening. I'm Yolanda Kuhn. I'm the school business administrator here, and all of you guys have come out. Obviously, the news have gotten out that the district has lost state aid of 1.7 or 1.6, and basically, this is the second year in a row that we have taken a significant reduction in state aid. Before I start, bottom line is to fund a school, there are different components that make up the revenue sources. Local tax levy, state aid, you have some entitlements, miscellaneous revenue, fund balance, which is quote unquote our savings, and extraordinary aid. We're able to apply for any reimbursement for special ed related sources that exceed the $44,000. So this year, our gross revenue sources is $190 million. As you can see, the operating, which is our main piece, is $175 million, representing 92% of the whole pie. Then you have your Fund 20, which is your early childhood, as well as any entitlements and debt service. Next. The operating is the big piece. That's where you see your local miscellaneous at $115 million, which represents 66 of the pie. State aid, 31. SIMI that we spoke about, extraordinary aid, and fund balance. Now, basically the state, years ago, selected a committee to come up with what would it take to fully fund a district. That is what we call an adequacy budget. So they take the number of kids, slice and dice them by all social economics, the town, demographics, etc. And then they come up with what they feel we should, what the amount would be to fully educate a kid. So that amount is $177 million. So the funding formula, as we know, are being challenged, and they're supposed to be changing that. But we're working with the local to help close that gap. Next.
Real quick, just based on the funding formula, just so I mentioned attendance for our funding formula. So Union, we're a very unique district. We're large, and we are around right now 53, 54% free and reduced. But at the same time, our town, and the way the state looks at it, our home prices are going up much higher than the state home prices. So like when the states is, say, either staying flat or increasing a little bit on their home values, ours is going up much higher in the state's eyes, in their formula, as well as our community, in a sense, income. So they look at that, where's your community at versus other communities in income? And ours is like the state average went down, ours went up. So that also impacts in a formula that, the state has this formula. Like Ms. Kuhn said, we're hoping the governor in 2027 brings a committee together to change it. My argument is we're almost two different districts. We have a district that's 50%, about 54% free and reduced, and then we have another district that is not. Now, when I look at districts that are free and reduced, and I try to find districts that are about our size in the free and reduced, and then I say, how much state aid do they get? They get a lot more state aid than we get for our whole district. So that's why I'm saying the funding formula does not benefit Union and who we are. And we have just as many needs as neighboring districts that are getting a lot more state aid, and that's the frustrating part for us, is, we're on the side of it that it doesn't help. But we got to work within the means that we have. We are, given X number of dollars, and we got to make it work. But that's why there's more to come, and we'll keep sharing. But we, on this end, want to keep pushing and fight for what Union needs, and we will. But it takes the state to change the funding of schools. So
what you see before you basically is another pie chart identifying in large groups of how we identify different types of expenses. Basically, this, again, is the preliminary that has to be submitted to the county by this week. This is a work in progress. You'll see in the next coming slides, and then we can kind of talk about the things that we feel that have been identified that is going to help bring to fruition the balanced budget. Next. So again, how did we get here? On the revenue side, for the last couple of years, you can see we lost almost $4 million in state aid. Our challenges are tax levy. By statute, you can really only raise local tax by 2%, with the exception of any waivers that you may have, which would be your enrollment, if your enrollment was increasing greatly, bank cap, if you have any bank cap, which is any difference in tax levy that wasn't taken the previous year, but we do not have any of those items, as well as health insurance. And health insurance, as everybody knows in all districts, have gone crazy. We're still better than the state. The state has been raising their health costs by 31.9%. In our case, we're at around 15%.
And those that don't know about the health benefits, so when the Biden administration ended and the Trump administration started, there's certain things in place that expire. So for this, there was a subsidy for health costs. So that was the bigger health companies were taking that, so they didn't raise the rates as much. So now across the state, everyone's rates went up. Even if, let's say, your annual increase is based on your experience of your health benefits, which means your claims versus how much your plan is. They want to make money, the health benefit companies. So if you're above 100%, that means you overspent your plan. They're going to raise the rates higher. But if you come in under 100%, they might give you a low increase, say 5 to 7%. But everyone across the state, because of the cost getting shifted down, ended up increasing a lot. So you're going to hear, if you haven't already, throughout the state, the number one impact. Now, that's almost a $5 million, in a sense, hit on our district.
As he's pointing to
that came out of,
side.
in a sense, nowhere, just because of change of administration.
Correct. And we were on target this year with our targeted claims that we have, but over the last 2 or 3 months, they have been very high, almost $1 million in 1 week for claims. So there are some things to put in preventive health options, but we have to deal with the cars we dealt with. Right now, we're looking at a 4.5 increase on the expenditure side. Now, keep in mind, 2% is the cap from raising local, and that's only 2.2 million versus already 4.5 million. So you can see there's an imbalance there. Also, obviously, you know, our contracted collective bargaining, salary increases. And so these are our major, as you can see, cost drivers: transportation, education, and obviously inflation. Did you want to add anything else?
And if you just want to share the 2% that we go out to, it's 2%. And what does that equate to?
2.2.
So 2.2 million we raise, in a sense, it's one of the bigger funding sources that we are able to raise our budget. But if you look up there, if we're getting 2.2% to run the next year, and look at healthcare costs going up
Alone.
almost 5 million, and salaries, to pay salaries across the whole district, 3 million, we're already cutting. And you could go back in time. When I been in this district a long time, I started off talking about our fiscal stability, many years. It wasn't rock science saying what's coming. Now, the health benefit, 5 million over 1 year, but you see them increasing 7 to 10% every year depending on what's going on. It's hard to keep up at that pace. So, you know, we need more people to be aware of it, what's driving this. But what we have to do is find ways to continue to keep this district growing and providing the supports the students need to grow, to get our test scores, which we spoke about many times, about not being where we want them. And it's challenging. There's no good decisions through this process.
Not at all.
None. So it is very difficult, but I'll...
Very difficult. And just so to piggyback on what he said, at the end of the year, funds or monies that aren't spent at the end of the year get flushed into, at the beginning of the pie chart. Remember I talked about fund balance? That you can is like our savings account. So to help balance budgets, BAs tend to tip into the savings to try to, you know, reduce the budget gap. Well, it's running out. It's running out. We're tapping into it like $2 million a year on that front. As extraordinary aid, that is not as high as we anticipate. You know, we're getting more students and making the best decisions that we can at the time. So here we are with action items that we are considering. You want to?
So with that too, we're very lucky. I know someone earlier spoke about pre-K. Mm-hmm. We're one of the districts that right now the state is not funding pre-K like they funded it for us.
Correct. The new ones.
Where they funded 100%. So now it's the state's, if you 40% if you want to start a pre-K in your district, you get approved. So that's something we're very lucky to have.
Yes.
And it services about 500 kids.
Correct, 494
It's through a lottery system, so not everyone could get it. If we have more than 500, we pick. And it's first as far as, well, it's random, but there's only so many slots. Right. And the other thing is so everyone's aware how we're doing it now, is we have, depending on the classroom space, we might have one pre-K classroom in one building, 3 in another, 2 in another, 6 in another. So the kids were never collaborating, never in the same environment. And then we had a lot of parents that wanted that pre-K, and it already was filled up based on if, say, for example, Washington might have had 30, 40 people that wanted pre-K for one class, 15 kids. So there's other impacts that people might not see, and other families that might have also concerns when they weren't getting a pre-K classroom in the school they wanted. But at the same time, we're going to be able to fiscally gain by making some hard decisions like this. That's other thing is Isabella Tacosa, who's in charge of our grants. We're very lucky. I mean, she's up to over $5 million in additional grants to our district. She just applied for another big one. That we're trying to do whatever we can to offset the losses or any revenue sources that we're not getting. So we're going to, I have faith that Isabella will bring that number up slowly year after year to then be able to put more programs or anything that in place that we might not have had been able to, or that we, in a sense, might have had to cut on the local side, but now it's being funded through grant funding. But we're looking at everything. All right? We have to. And so right now we're working on a K-5 configuration. I did put out a letter today to Franklin Elementary School will become our pre-K center. And I offered a parent night in that letter right after spring break because I want to talk about Franklin. So if they have questions specifically to why it's Franklin, we could explain it in more detail there. But, you know, Franklin is situated very closely to Hannah Caldwell and Jefferson. So when you go K-5 and you got to fill up an elementary school now, you go to the streets that are around that school and you have lines, boundary lines. So we're adjusting the boundary lines slightly to balance out all our schools K-5 while we're reducing transportation across the board, which then helps us fiscally. So when we're looking at these things, it's not individual, it's globally. It's looking at what's best for our whole district. I cannot stand up here and say I could please everyone. I'm not going to be able to. There's going to be people upset at some point. But I got to cut $9 million by April 28th. We have to, in a sense. And we got to still make sure our district grows academically, that supports are still in place for our students. It's very challenging. Again, like I said, there's not going to be any right decisions, but we're evaluating everything. And over the next month, there's going to be a lot of information coming out and a lot of meetings. Anyone that's going to get impacted in a sense, so let's say you had transportation and you're losing it, there'll be a meeting set up for those parents. I'm going to try to hit and have meetings with anyone that somehow was impacted. Again, not that everyone's going to be happy showing up to the meetings, but I feel I need to at least go and listen to the concerns and see what we could do. So there are going to be other things that we're going to be putting out to accommodate some of the things of now the difficulty, say, with dropping off a child at 2 schools if you're in pre-K and you get a spot. Again, not all the spots are guaranteed. We have to have enough classroom space based on the grant to offer it, and we're doing a random. We're picking out randomly who gets the slots. Truly random. Pre-K. Pre-K 4 too. There's a limited number of seats. Yes, the grant only funds so many seats, and we always have a wait list. Not very long, but usually 4 is a little higher than 3 because a lot of people didn't know about. But I'm going to reach out to you specifically and talk a little further. And I can't go back and forth into. We could talk. I will definitely give you a call.
That'll be a meeting.
So again, I'm not going to go through all of them, but we are looking at everything. It's going to grow. We for a week and a half, or I don't know, 6 hours minimum a day.
Yes,
we're keep talking about what are some things. So we want to try to minimize the number of positions we have to eliminate. So I'm going to say right now we're at a number of 50 district-wide. But right now we feel safe to say about 25, we're down to about 25 being actual people in the positions. So if what we look at is attrition, so anyone resigning or retiring, not replacing that at the moment. Depending, again, on the position, it might be one of those subjects that we need to replace. But anything we could do without trying to impact someone sitting in front of us, we do. So eventually, I'm hoping that number could get down to less than 10. And as we come up with different things and again, make sure Ms. Kuhn could submit an accurate, balanced budget. But even after that, if we see other retirements, that now could, to make sure somebody has a job, then they know they have a job before they leave us. But there's going to be reduction in force and increase on class size. So, like I said, there's going to be meetings along the way that you are more than welcome to join. Hopefully you do join for information. But we are, again, at this point, needing to pass a preliminary budget, and this is where we're at.
Okay.
Ms. Kuhn, anything else?
No.
So, as we do monthly, there's a lot of great things. Haley, right here. Mr. President, if the student becomes the unsung hero and we're done, can we come back to that? Oh, April. All right, so come back to it in April. Thank you. I'm not going to go through all this, but we have a lot of wonderful stuff. I'm glad you guys are here. Come back monthly, hear about our great stuff around the schools. Parent Square, a lot of more information is being shared. I've had a lot of positive comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pick it back up. I've had a lot of positive comments from parents on Parent Square. So I know information is getting shared and people are able to see what they want to see, all the great stuff. So make sure you look at this. It'll be posted online. Ms. Brunsmeyer, as she does always, wonderful job. Read Across America, getting everyone to come in. I love going in and reading to the students. Keep doing that. It's great, but a lot of fun. And how many people did you have coming in and read total? All right. Excellent. Thank you. So the STEAM fair was great. Had a lot of people excited. A lot of great things that went on that night. The Hall of Fame's coming up. I'm excited. You could see who the first class that we again recreated our Hall of Fame. It was done years ago and then stopped, and it was many years since we started this up, and came at a discussion of the board. Mr. McDowell said, can we bring this back? And we made it happen. So it's awesome, and I'm sure those that have been in Union for a long time will see some names they definitely remember up there. So we have a committee, we get nominations and we pick, and I'm excited to really highlight May 7th, the first Hall of Fame in a very long time, here in DMK Theater. Llama Live is always exciting if you guys haven't seen Llama Live. So he goes places, he goes right in live to his class. The kids love it. He's done it from a helicopter. He's done it, I can't even think of all the places, but it really gets the kids to go somewhere without going. And very creative. Maybe I'll get him to do Llama Live somehow to his class for some board activity. I don't know. But he does a great job. And the mayor, Miss Patty Guerra-Frazier, obviously was joining him for this. But any of you, if you search Llama Live, I think he has a website. You could go and check out some of the things. It really makes it creative for our kids. Again, so many things happening throughout our school district. And, we have some great educators that do a lot of great things. The AP Awards night was a great night here in DMK Theater, where we really highlighted the students that are doing a great job. So anyone that took 3 or more AP exams and got 3 or higher. So thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, for putting that together. Thank you to the board for supporting that. This is also the second year we're doing. Last year was nice. It had a good ring, top 25 and 25. This has just as good of a ring, but it just shows how amazing our kids are, and they're going to be going to all the top universities, and we're going to keep this going year after year and show our top 25 every year, and then this way we could, keep track of all the amazing things. But it's not just 25. We have 26, 27, 28 after that we're very close. I think between the Val and Sal this year, it was like 100ths of a point. So, but then after that, we have a lot. Having a very big high school, we have students that do amazing things and go all over the place, and we just like to highlight the kids that are really focused and doing great things. So check that out. So around TUPS, I'm not going to go through and play this, but there's a lot of other things I highlight monthly. I don't take up the full time of the board. I try to go through it quick, but World Down Syndrome Day. Watch the video. It was 5 seconds, but you could watch it. But thanks for that. Science in Action at Jefferson. Great job there. Miss Oates is with us today. And you could go through in that. Tufts attendance, as you see, are monthly ones. Our district in February is up to 93.6%. But for February, Hannah Caldwell gets the highest. So congratulations to Hannah Caldwell. And we're really, as you know, also Dr. Rodriguez, this initiative, the state really puts a lot of emphasis and on the district to make sure our kids are in school. It's a big, at the end of the year in our performance report, districts are graded on their attendance. So we're really doing and I have to thank not just our staff for working diligently on this and making sure the kids want to come to school and sitting down with the parents, but I want to thank the parents too, because we need them to make sure their child is coming to school, and it's important. We want to make sure that our goal is met at the end of the year, and every one of our schools to start was more than 10% chronically absent. So we'll see at the end of the year where we land. I'm hoping all 10 schools are not in that, but we'll see. And I think the state would be proud of what we're doing for that. And we know the kids are learning at a higher level if they're in school. So to conclude, I always kind of show where we're at with parent score, 100% contact, which is so important. 40% of parents and guardians have downloaded. Make sure you should keep sharing that. If you want to know what's going on in our district, that's where it's coming through, Parent Square. And as I have to do monthly, to report incidents of HIB from that period, March 18th to the 24th. We only had one to report, and it was at Union High School, and it was unfounded. And then affirming from February 25th, it's a longer period, to March 17th. And it all is generated based on our board meetings. But you'll see there was 9 met, 5 unfounded, 4 inconclusive, and the schools that where they were at. And thank you very much, Mr. President, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Benaquista. We'll now move to the Education Student Discipline Committee resolutions, and I'd like to call upon the chair, Ms. Carbonell.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Education and Student Discipline Committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. E1-1, affirm superintendent's determination of HIB. E1-1A, superintendent's report of HIB. E2, long-term suspension and home instruction. E3, approve partnership with Family Center at Montclair annual mental health screenings, which is a grant where the students can be provided with mental health screenings. E4, approve locations for extended school year, which I believe this year is going to be Battle Hill and the administration building. E5, approve literacy outreach visit, Mount St. Dominic Academy. Some students from there are coming, and they will be visiting Washington Elementary and reading to the students there. E6, approve agreement, Ramapo College, and this is for teacher interns. E7, approve the revised school calendar year. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Ms. Carbonell.
I'll second.
Are you moving those resolutions?
I'll second.
I moved.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Faria. The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell,
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Mackey, Mrs. Faria,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Nasta,
Yes.
Ms. Santana,
Yes.
Mr. Cohan.
Yes. We'll now move on to the Fiscal and Planning Committee. I'd like to call on Mr. McDowell and Ms. Santana to present the resolutions to be voted upon tonight.
Thank you so much, Sir Chair. Is it possible to move them in a block?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much. Upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Fiscal and Planning Committee present the following resolutions for the board's consideration. I'm starting with F1, and we're moving all the way down to FB6. I hand it back over to you, Sir Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McDowell. The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'd like to make some brief comments. As regular attendees of the meeting may know, I also serve as the chair of the Fiscal Committee, but I'm chairing this meeting tonight. And it's been acknowledged by a couple of the speakers already, and certainly we've heard from Dr. Benaquista and Ms. Kuhn in their presentation of the preliminary budget, that we have several very difficult challenges before us and many difficult decisions to make. I think I can speak on behalf of all of my colleagues on the board. We're faced with these decisions, but we don't like the outcome of any of them. But we have a legal and fiduciary responsibility to administer the school district, or excuse me, to set policy for the school district, and we act upon the recommendations of the superintendent. We are fully committed to support Dr. Benaquista and Ms. Kuhn in their efforts to do everything they can to minimize the impact of these reductions on classroom instruction, because that's our primary responsibility. Having said that, we need to proceed into the 26-27 fiscal year with a balanced budget, and that's what we will be voting on right now. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. Next, we'll have the Grievance Negotiations Committee Chair, Ms. Conte-Mackey, and Mr. Nasta to move the resolutions on the agenda. We've already acted on G1, but we have resolution G2. We have resolution G1.
Yes, Mr. President. Upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Grievance Negotiations Committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. G1, approved sidebar agreement of the UTASA.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Santana. Motion been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We'll now have the Operations Technology Committee Chairs, Mr. Nasta, Ms. Faria, present the resolutions to be voted upon tonight.
Upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Operations Technology Committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. 01, approved security drill bus evacuation reports. 02, approved submission of application for use of Rapkin Park. 03, approved request from UHS class of 1975 reunion committee to plant a tree. And T1, approved recycling of equipment.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Mackey?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We'll now have the Personnel Committee Chair, Ms. Conte-Mackey, move the resolutions on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. If it's okay, Mr. President, can I report these in block?
Yes.
No problem.
Upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Personnel Committee presents the following resolutions for the Board's consideration. P1A was approved at the March 17, 2026 work session. P1A through P6.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Nasta. The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Maki?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We'll now have the policy chair, Ms. Santana, present the resolutions of the policy committee on the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. Upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Policy Committee presents the following policy for the Board's consideration. This is the final reading and adoption. I'm going to start with Policy 2, Policy 1220, Employment of Chief School Administrator, Policy 3, Policy 1552, Sexual Harassment, Regulations, Regulation 1, which is Regulation 1552, Sexual Harassment Staff New, and being abolished, abolish Policy 3362, Sexual Harassment, abolish Policy 4352, Sexual Harassment, abolish Regulation 3362, Sexual Harassment of Teaching Staff Members Complaint Procedure, and abolish Regulation 4352, Sexual Harassment of Support Staff Members Complaint Procedure. I hand it back to you, Chair.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Nasta. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to clarify a little bit on policy, just for those that are new to this. When we say abolish, we're abolishing because in another part of it, we're amending it. So it's not like if we're doing away with the policy of sexual harassment. I just want to make sure that that's clear. We're just updating it in another part. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Maki? Yes. Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We have the residency committee resolutions. Can I call on Mr. McDowell to present the non-voting resolutions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The residency committee resolutions, these are non-voting and they're for information purposes only. But upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the residency committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. Again, there's no voting required. The following residency investigations were completed and the listed students were transferred to the appropriate district of residence. There's one student listed there from Hannah Caldwell. Also, the following totals are as of February 24th, 2026 board meeting. No students have been removed, but we have 12 total students that have voluntarily transferred out of our district into the district of residence. And Mr. Chairman, these are for information purposes only.
Thank you, Mr. McDowell. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of bills. Can I have a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded by Ms. Santana. Mr. McDowell, without discussion, can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Maki?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes. We now move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Ms. Santana.
I would like to just speak, when we were going over the presentation, I wanted to comment on, Jerry's going to pull it back up for us, or Dr. Benaquista. When we're faced with a time like this, where we're making such hard, difficult decisions, I did want to just highlight something so great. I have the pleasure this year of having a senior, and he was on the wrestling team. So along with other people in the audience and on this board, we went to a lot of wrestling this year, and I'm usually a baseball mom. So I do want to talk about, thank you. I do want to talk about such a great sport that I just learned about these past few years that my son started wrestling. Such a sport that's a team sport, but when you're out there on the mat, it really is just you. I wanted to talk about the Coach Dino. I think he's been here over a decade. How long has he been here? Over a decade?
15
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So when Dr. Benaquista was going over this presentation, highlighted Dino, Coach Dino, doing such great work. And then, I'm not a basketball mom, but then I see our new coach. It's his first year, and he's making, oh, the head coach, I'm so sorry, the county coach of the year. Just such great work that we do here in Union, and I just wanted to highlight it, speak about it, along with everything else that was in his presentation. I did want to kind of just give kudos to these two great coaches and all the great work that we do in Union, even during difficult times. Thank you.
Mr. McDowell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make one comment about some of the changes that we're looking to make here, and Dr. Benaquista went over. And primarily the change from the configuration now to a K through 5 configuration for our elementary schools. And what I'd like to talk mostly about is what's going on, what will happen at Jefferson School. We are actually picking up an additional elementary school when you look at it. Jefferson will become K through 5, like the other elementary schools in the district. The savings there will be in transportation, some savings there in transportation. But one of the other things that we will benefit from, at least the kids in that neighborhood won't have to walk to one school to catch a bus to another school. They can go to the school in their neighborhood. And I think I went to that school, and for me, it's a source of pride to have a school in your neighborhood. So that's one of the things we are looking at. And I think one of the other things is, and I don't know if Mrs. Hall is here or not, but this idea I think was presented 6 or 7 years ago, and there were people involved in certain committees to get this done. And now we're finally getting it off the ground. It's, and the great thing, one of the other great things about it is the consistency that it will bring to our district. Rather than the elementary schools all coming together from 5 or 6 separate schools, elementary schools, coming to the 5th grade, then separating into 2 middle schools for 3 years, then coming back to a high school for 4 years. It's a little bit up and down, irky-jerky, and it really doesn't give any consistency to what we're trying to do here. But this way, with Jefferson becoming an elementary school, we're going to gain that consistency, and that's one of the things we're looking for. It's easier to educate. And one other additional benefit for incoming 5th graders is there's actually some extra school time. I think Jefferson has the shortest school day there is now. I'm sorry. No. Absolutely, absolutely. But we will pick up a few additional instructional minutes during the week. We'll add up also during the month and the year. So that's extra instructional time that the kids will benefit from. So and those that participated on those reorganization committees, I guess over the past 3 or 4 years.
Who's counting?
A long time. And as I said, we're finally getting this off the ground, and it's a good thing for our district. It's going to provide us with consistency and savings in transportation. It's good for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDowell. Other unfinished business? I've just a couple of items. We heard during the student liaison's report and Dr. Benaquista's report some of the great news of things going on around the district. I had the great pleasure of being able to attend the district STEAM fair a week and a half ago at the Union High School cafeteria, and I can just tell you that I was absolutely blown away by the intellect of our students, from kindergarten students, 5-year-olds, all the way up to our high school students. I was so pleased to hear from a kindergarten student who was so excited about tornadoes and demonstrated his tornado in a jar for me. There was another youngster who wanted to show me his solar-powered robot car. But then I have to tell you, I learned a lot from our high school students who wanted to share with me information about how the molecule for thalidomide was an unintentional mistake. It was a helpful molecule of that compound has many benefits medically and biologically, but a simple little switch of one presentation of the same molecule created the problems that occurred back in the 50s with pregnant women. There was another student two students who took a look at room D244 at Union High School, the lecture hall over there, and having experienced learning in there said, you know, it's not very well designed. And they went through a process to redesign that room to make it more feasible so that everyone seated in the space would be able to feel included. They had schematics, they had a mock-up, and then I asked them if they knew whether or not their plan was going to be implemented. They said they didn't know. So I'll have to ask the high school principal and the superintendent to take a look at that and see if it's feasible for us to undertake. I just couldn't have been more impressed by the things that I heard. As I talked with the students, the high school students, I asked them what grade they were in and what their plans were for the future. Many of them had plans to go on to NJIT and institutions all over the country. But there was one young lady who said to me, well, I'm only a junior, but I'm going to be a doctor. It wasn't I'd like to be a doctor. It was a statement of fact. And I was just so very impressed. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleagues on the board who joined me in marching in the St. Patrick's Day Parade a week ago Saturday. It was a grand day, a little chilly with the wind, but it was a beautiful sunny day just like it was today, and we had a great time. I was really very proud that day of the representation we had from throughout the school district. We had students from the high school marching with us, along with Ms. Bossard, and the junior ROTC presented themselves as they always do in an amazing way. But there were also delegations from several of our elementary schools, so a great time was had by all. Thank you very much. Any other comments? Is there any new business? Yes. Ms. Carbonell.
I too want to express that when we heard the news about the budget cuts, our hearts dropped. And it's been a very somber experience and humbling experience for us all. But I can promise you we are going to try to provide you as much information as possible and work together so that we can minimize the blow. It is truly unfortunate, but it's not just Union that is being impacted. I just tried to Google briefly how many districts in New Jersey were impacted with this funding formula. And I didn't verify, but it says 167. And there are many other school boards and districts having these tough decisions to make and conversations. So at this time, I just pray for us all that we can find our way through this. And I know that we can if we work together. But I do want to celebrate a couple of things and acknowledge some staff members that did some pretty awesome things. And although Delilah was not here today, I do want to thank you, Ms. Tiss and Ms. Bosler, for nominating Delilah as our representative in the Union County Unsung Hero. Her story was extremely moving, and you want to talk about courage and perseverance and strength of spirit with everything that she went through to see her flourish. She's a role model for all of us. And it was nice to go to that event where every Union County school district was represented. And I was very proud to have her be our representative here. So thank you to both of you. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the Irish parade, because Ms. Bowser, once again, she gets those kids with the staff. There were a number of teachers there representing ROTC. We were just extremely proud the way that they carried themselves. and I don't know if she's a captain. I don't recall her name, the one that was leading them, and she was tough. I want to be her when I grow up. They look phenomenal, and they really represented us well. Along with the musical, the band, right? We also had the PTA there, so thank you, a shout out to them. Project Unified, which were some of our special needs youngsters, right? And I don't want to misquote the elementary school, but there were one of our schools was part of the parade. They looked so cute. I believe it was Washington, but please excuse me. Thank you so much. You see, I got it. But I wanted to recognize everybody that participated because you all look great. Thank you so much.
Any other board comments? We'll now move on to comments from the public. I'd like to remind everybody that we value your input, and we ask that your comments be respectful and constructive. You'll be given 3 minutes to address the board, and while we're eager to hear your perspectives, we're unable to engage it in a discussion during this portion of the meeting. Comments will be carefully considered by the board, and if necessary, we will have a follow-up. The first speaker is Susan Lipstein.
It's Susan Lipstein, 2569 Jackson Avenue. That's okay. I'm here tonight representing the Township of Union Education Foundation. And if some people here have never heard of us, we are the local charity, nonprofit, charitable organization that raises money for grants that go to individual teachers for extraordinary programs, creative and innovative programs. And I think I'm probably the only person with good financial news tonight. The foundation, which has donated over $250,000 in grants to teachers, this year we will be donating several $1,000s more in grants to teachers for the 2026-2027 school year, and we'll be announcing those grant recipients in April. They have some very exciting programs. I'll be announcing probably at the next meeting, and I'm hoping that the Superintendent and Board of Ed sees fit to invite them to come to be honored at perhaps the May meeting. We are able to say yes to teachers and yes to our students. Every member of our board is a volunteer, but we rely on donations and fundraising to say yes. We have raffle tickets we're selling for $10 a chance to win a $500 gift card. And we are also having a dinner on May 7th that we will be honoring teachers, that we'll be having some of the students that have done things with the grants to come. It's open to the community. It's $40. It's a buffet dinner. And we sell bricks and a walkway of honor. This is a tough time to raise money, but we've got a proven track record of working with the community for 25 years. We've done it with the help of the community. We'll do it for 26. I've no doubt the community will come through. We're happy to accept donations, both big and small. We always supported our public schools, and we have always supported our teachers. I also just, if you don't know about us, I'll put something up on Facebook so you will know. And thank you very much. And we really look forward to being able to give money at a time when it is so tough. We are able to say yes. And we have a lot of principals here. Those schools, I think the principals, everybody here, their teachers of this school have gotten grants. I see several people that have gotten grants here. And I wanted to mention that Patty Frazier and Salman Lama both have received grants. So we've been around for a long time, but we need financial support to continue to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Zayden X. Maximilian May. Hope I didn't mispronounce your name.
All right, so good evening. I'm here as a parent. My daughter is Chloe May. She goes to Franklin Elementary School. Unfortunately, I feel the district has been failing my daughter. She's in 4th grade, currently reading at a kindergarten or 1st grade reading level. There have been no interventions put in place, despite countless communication to her teacher, despite meeting with the principal and the social worker. From my understanding, there have been, they started IRS process for her, but unfortunately the social worker is not there anymore. So as a result, there has been no follow-up with that. So in conjunction with that, unfortunately my daughter has had teachers at her tenure that each and every year they've been chronically absent. I demanded records for absenteeism from the teachers, not for personal reasons, but to just prove that this is directly affecting Chloe. I don't, and what's really frustrating is that as an educator myself, to go on Genesis and it's March, it's about to be April, and there's no grades for her. So I have no idea how she's doing. I've reached out to the teacher. I reached out to Miss Baskerville. I have no idea how she's doing. And I'm all for celebrating sports and athletics. I've coached myself. However, I think we have to have a real conversation about the reading and math scores in the district. Unfortunately, I'm not a resident of the district anymore. I'm a resident of West Windsor Township, which is Princeton Junction. And honestly, I never thought my daughter would ever get a D ever in her life. I've done all I could to support her at home. So I'm actually advocating to get her the support that she needs. And I know a lot of you that's on the board here today, I know some of you are parents, and some of you have fought for and advocated for your children to get what they need to get the education that they deserve. So I'm coming here, I think all of you said at some point in time, let's work together to support our children, and that's what I'm asking for. I don't want this to be just a one-off situation where I come here and speak and nothing gets addressed. My daughter demands respect that she deserves. She's only 9 years old. I do expect her to be going to Jefferson next year, but I just heard you guys say the class sizes will be increasing. So my question is, with these budget cuts, the class size is increasing, where's the reading specialist at for her? Is there a compensatory education fund that's going to make up for all the hours of miseducation that she has not gotten from Ms. Meekins? And I've been absent before also. I understand
Excuse me,
things
sir.
happen.
Please.
But my daughter is not she's not, I don't care about the 167 districts that's statewide. I don't care about that.
Okay.
I want to know what's going to be done for her, because there's no excuse for her to be reading at a kindergarten reading level. There's no excuse for it.
Thank
and
you.
especially if there's only
Mr.
two
Meg,
grades.
excuse me, but your time has expired. Could you just finish your statement?
Yes, I got you. So the last thing I want to say is for the teachers and the school to approve her to get a D when there's only two grades measuring her academic success, her reading level, I think that's unacceptable. I think we need to do something about that.
All right.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
And Dr. Rodriguez, my assistant superintendent of student services, will reach out.
All right. Next speaker is Dolly Cadeau Cobb.
Here because I wanted to know what
Could you
the
speak
founding,
directly into the microphone, please?
I wanted to know what the founding was of a incident. You guys read it, but I'm going to need a copy of the report, but I will contact the principal for that.
So we'll make sure someone gets in touch with you regarding a hit matter, right?
Yeah, but I can contact the principal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure it gets followed up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Virginia Jeffries.
Virginia Jeffries, 236 Brighton Avenue, East Orange, New Jersey. Vice President Cohen. Good evening, board members, staff, members of the public in attendance, physically and virtually. Concerns are the Open Public Meetings Act, walk-on resolutions, and board policies in effect. The Open Public Meetings Act is designed for there to be open government meetings guaranteeing that the public is informed. This includes agendas be published / posted with at least 48 hours notice before a meeting takes place. Walk-on resolutions are a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act, as there is no notice given to the public, bypassing any input, query, challenges, etc. from the public. The February 24, 2026 regular session board meeting, a walk-on resolution was presented even though it was not on the agenda that evening. And it was item P9, dismissal of an employee. This was not published on the agenda. There's no board policy in place to accommodate walk-on resolutions. Board counsel read this unpublished agenda item into the record. However, the current agenda posted for February 24th, 2026 has been changed to add this walk-on resolution. This is an inaccurate official government record. There does not seem to be a current policy in place for a walk-on resolution that can comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. When will the board enact a policy for walk-on resolutions so that the public can be properly and thoroughly informed? Also, I would like to make a statement about the budget. Everyone is feeling the hurt at all levels with these budget cuts or the proposed budget cuts. And no one will actually know what monies will be funded until July 1st. So everybody is on eggshells, and that's completely understandable. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Shanara Davis. I apologize if I mispronounced
No worries.
your name.
My name is Shanavia Davis. I'm speaking both as a parent and as an educator. So while I understand the district is facing financial challenges, but I'm concerned about how these decisions are being made and implemented. Transitioning to a K-5 model is a major structural change, yet it's presented as a budget solution without clear data or an implementation plan. I'm concerned about the impact of increased class sizes and reduced staffing on student learning and teacher capacity. Families and educators were giving very short notice about this. We received an email on March 19th stating that this decision will be finalized at this board meeting today. What opportunities were provided to stakeholders for stakeholder input before these decisions were made? Additionally, not only am I just a parent, I am a Franklin parent. My daughter has been in Franklin Elementary since kindergarten. I'm deeply concerned about the decision to repurpose Franklin Elementary, effectively closing it. While it appears to be the only school in the district facing this level of impact, this is not a minor adjustment. This disrupts an entire school community, and yet there is no clear plan on where our students are going, what class sizes will look like, and how this transition will be supported. Additionally, families are being told that boundary lines and details are still being finalized, which suggests this decision is moving forward without a complete implementation plan. I would like to understand why Franklin, what data supports this decision, and how the district is ensuring that this does not disproportionately impact one school community over the others. I'm not opposed to change, but decisions of this magnitude require transparency, equity, and planning, and right now these things are not clear. Is there a plan to ensure that this information gets out to our entire community? As you stated in your presentation, only 47% of families are on Parent Square. That means over 50% of our families are not privy to the information because Parent Square is the only way that communication is being sent out by the district. So what is the plan for that? Additionally, lastly, I'll finish up. This plan is going to affect for 26-27 school year. Why wasn't there a decision to take a little bit more time and maybe implement these changes for 27-28? I'm just not understanding on a logistical standpoint how these changes are going to be made from June 22nd to the first day of schools for teachers, which is September 1st. That is a very tight time frame, especially when we are already facing staff shortage. We're facing staff shortage in custodial staff. Who is moving the desk? Who is moving this property? In terms of turning Franklin into a pre-K center, how are the facilities going to be updated to manage those students' populations? There is not a lot of facility. There's an upkeep that needs to happen at Franklin, just if I'm just speaking of bathrooms alone. So these are things that have to be considered, and I'm just not understanding as a community member how we're going to make such a drastic change to our district in such a short amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker is Ms. Ann Margaret Shannon.
I'll pass.
Pass. Thank you. Next speaker is Stacy Sanchez.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Sanchez. I have been an educator for approximately 28 years now, and I also am a parent of 3 boys who have all been through the union school programs. One is in college on scholarship. I've had them, they've gone through G&T, they've gone through One Needing Child Support Services, so I know they've received a quality education at Union. And I'm grateful because I did not have that same opportunity when I was growing up. And one of the reasons I actually became a teacher was to be able to make a difference in my community. And 4 years ago, I was hired in Union, and I was excited. I said, I can make an impact here where my boys are. I'm gonna see the kids at the supermarket. I was very excited. And to be quite honest, a lot of people were just like, oh my God, you're going to Franklin? And I heard a lot of negative things about Franklin. But what I will tell you is, what I've learned teaching at Franklin for the last few years is these children are a gift. They have impacted me in more ways than I could have imagined. They are, I had the privilege of last year having these children for 2nd grade and now moving into 3rd grade with them. And they have grown by leaps and bounds. These children are not they shouldn't be looked down upon. Oftentimes, as a staff member and as a teacher, and hearing from my students and families, sometimes they feel forgotten by the district. But these children are capable of greatness. And we're making changes that are going to seriously impact them. And I want to know why they were chosen, why this school was chosen to be closed, first of all. Is it just logistics? Is it just because they are the forgotten school? Over the last year, my scores in these, just to slow down, to explain how amazing these kids are, my iReady scores last year increased by over 200%. So they thought, let's go. Miss Santoro was kind enough to share with her things that she learned. She studied a science of reading program. We began implementing at the school. I have 3rd graders that asked me to give them 6th and 7th grade texts to decode. They can read these words, no problem. I was being observed the other day, and my favorite moment was, I have one little boy who's kind of struggled through things. But I always tell him, you're smart, you're capable, I believe in you, you've got this, you just don't have it yet. And so he was doing something, and in the middle of my observation, he figures out how to do the syllabication of a 5th grade word as an 8-year-old, and he yells out, I am powerful. And that moment is why I teach. These kids matter. So what I want to make sure is, first of all, we don't forget these kids, that they get the quality education that they're supposed to receive wherever they have to go, that the redistricting is fair so that they all receive quality education. Because even thinking about the logistics, I've been that mom that's had to drive from 3 schools. I did Battle Hill and then Jefferson and then the middle school, and then I've gone to high school. I've done it all. But a lot of our kids walk. Sometimes a 4th grader walks a 2nd grader home. How are they going to do that when school's 2 miles away or 1.5 miles away? We're not thinking about stuff like that because they're not just having their parents drop them off in the drop-off line.
Excuse me, can you share your last sentiments as your time has expired?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, but I just want to say, again, think about the kids, because we say it's all about you. Please make sure it's all about them. And also, I think it might be beneficial to let us know before sending out an email, because again, we're feeling forgotten. Why'd they just send us an email? Why didn't they have a conversation with us? Let us know what's going to happen, because we're all reeling from the information. And that's about it. Just don't forget our kids. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Letitia Easterling.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Letitia Easterling. I'm speaking to formally express my deep concern and strong opposition regarding the planned conversion of Franklin Elementary into pre-K center for the 2026-2027 school year. My daughter is currently a student at Franklin Elementary and is scheduled to be a part of a graduating fourth grade class during this transition. It has come to my attention that the current fourth grade class would be divided, reassigned to different schools for their fifth grade year. These children have grown up together since pre-K, forcing them into different environments just as they prepare for high-stress transition to middle school is detrimental to their social and emotional well-being. Consistent peer groups and familiar environments are vital for academic success. This abrupt separation and relocation create unnecessary anxiety and instability for students who should be focused on their academic transition. How is this being agreed upon when you don't even have a plan of execution? What are the phases? Who is going to be where? What will happen to the teachers at Franklin? How will this benefit the students with larger classes? Increase on class size? How? Students are barely passing standardized testing as it is. I request that the board reconsider this timeline for the conversion. I look forward to your prompt response and clear outline of how district plans to mitigate these negative impacts on our children on our April 7th meeting at Franklin Elementary at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Next speaker is Asaya Lemon.
Good evening. My name is Asia. I have a 6-year-old with special needs that attends Connecticut Farm. My question is, can you clearly outline how these budget cuts will specifically impact the special education services, including staffing shortage, which there are already shortages, therapies, and classroom support? Also, how or when will families be notified if their child services or providers or schedules will be affected? Thank you.
I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Next speaker is Lynn Cornacchia.
Good evening, board members. My name is Lynn Cornacchia, 455 Colonial Avenue, Union, New Jersey, Livingston School elementary preschool teacher. I have verbally announced my disapproval of having a preschool center. Mr. McDowell made it perfectly clear that he grew up in a community. I grew up in a community school. We didn't have preschool back then, but we had kindergarten. The youngest of the youngest in this district are the preschoolers. Having them in their home-based school gives them the opportunity to develop friendships, not only with other teachers, but other children in the building. Our fourth graders do activities with the preschoolers. We go to assemblies, we go to functions, PTA functions. It's a family. Putting us in a center will only micromanage the preschool department as it is. You say it's going to help the budget. It's not, because now you're going to have to put bathrooms in classrooms that don't need to have bathrooms in them. You're going to have the maintenance department move everybody from one building to another. Now you got to transport, not the preschool department, but you have to transport all the kids. It's not feasible. Children need to be in their home schools. They need to be a sense of the community. They go after school to the playground. They see their teachers. They know the community. Our kids know the building. They know what's expected of them. They know the teachers upcoming for the future years. You want to have a community? Stop with the preschool centers. They may work in larger districts, but we're not talking about larger districts. We're talking about union school systems. I'm proud to be a preschool assistant. 21 years in this district, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But I do not approve of having a center to segregate the youngest of the youngest. They're your future. You talk about we are you, they're your you. They'll grow up to be educators, presidents of corporations, doctors, lawyers, even board members. But start with them. We talk about the high school kids, they earned it. They went through the system. They're phenomenal. I'm not belittling anybody, but it starts with the preschoolers. It starts with those in the district. Keep them where they are. If you're going to move anybody, not that we should move anybody, but they're the youngest of the youngest. They don't understand things as adults do. Let's think about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Trish Gomez.
Hi, Trish Gomes, 47 Brookdale Road. My concern are going to be class sizes for moving all these kids. Is there going to be any impact to the middle school? And how is the middle school going to be impacted with any of this stuff? And is the quality of the education going to be the same, especially since we're losing so much money and there's such budget cuts? Are there going to be enough teachers to educate these kids? And how are they going to be able to get the same level of education? And I hear a lot about cutting teachers and support staff. What about cutting some administration?
Thank you. The next speaker is Christian Restrepo. Mr. Restrepo, would you also give your address when you begin your remarks?
Oh, do you want me to write it down afterwards?
You don't have to write it, just put it in the record.
Sure. 20 Morningside Avenue.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I raise this? It's okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by echoing the early sentiments of my UTEA colleagues and give my thanks for the positive steps taken in the contract negotiations process. I'd also like to reiterate that all parties understand the unenviable task that the board faces in balancing difficult fiscal decisions without losing sight of the lives that these decisions will affect. Education, as you know, is a career built on compassion, empathy, and enlightenment, and never will you hear a true educator reduce the efforts, contributions, or tribulations of any member of our union. So, in regards to future negotiations for our salary guides, I'd like to put forth that teachers are not just line items on a budget. We're the backbone of this district. Every day, we step into our classrooms, and we do more than deliver the curriculum. We mentor, we support, we adapt, and we carry the emotional and academic weight of our students, their successes, their shortcomings, sometimes without the adequate resources we need. In recent years, the expectations on us have only increased. We're asked to close learning gaps, address student mental health, integrate new technology, meet rising academic standards, but our compensation has not kept pace with these demands or with the rising cost of living. So, respectfully, I urge the board to think creatively and strategically. A reduced budget does not mean abandoning our priorities, it means clarifying them. If student success is our top priority, then supporting the people directly responsible for that success should remain the center of our decisions. We understand the budget. We understand the high costs that you're facing. But for us as teachers, the cost is burnout. In our classrooms, at home, with our students, with our own children. The cost is high turnover, losing talented colleagues, watching them walk to neighboring districts who will pay them better. Ultimately, that cost will be paid by our students, who are already noticing the cracks in a very, very diminished morale. So, thank you to the board and to the negotiating team for the progress already made, and thank you for all that you're going to do to get us through this. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shannon, I'll call on you again if you'd like to speak. Okay. That concludes the comments from the public. There is no further business of the board, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Santana, seconded by Ms. Faria. All roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conte-Mackey?
Yes.
Mrs. Faria?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Nasta?
Yes.
Ms. Santana? Mr. Cohan?
Yes.